Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's make the triangles that are sort of the shadowy mountains. So choosing my star tool, I will choose a color that is slightly darker than my background, so not super dark. I can use I'm going to hit cancel here. I can use my eyedropper tool and eyedrop that in, and then double click on the swatch and just drop that down a little bit. So if you want the exact number, I would start here, 88888A7. So that's a good place to start. If that's not exactly what you want as you move forward, then you can change it later. So I just accidentally clicked way over here, which made my triangle over here, which is no big deal. We'll just resize it and move it over. So I'll rotate it around while holding the shift key, click and drag this bottom point down. We want these a little bit narrower than our actual mountains. So I'll click and drag that out. And as you can see, they're in front of everything else, which we don't want, but we can fix that in just a minute. I will copy that twice, so we'll have 3 total copies. And I think I'll make this one a little bit bigger and maybe a little bit wider, a little taller and wider. Okay, so now we need to send all of those backward, right? So I can select all of them by clicking on one, holding the shift key, clicking on the next, and again, holding the shift key, clicking on the third. And now I can go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. So when it does that, it actually sends it all the way back behind my background. And we can solve that problem real quick here. So I just clicked and reordered everything in my layers palette. So I'm okay with that. I think I might want to widen them just a little bit. So as you have noticed probably, some of this is kind of placing an object and then resizing it or rearranging it. So there is a little trial and error built in here, but that's part of what this is all about. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. All we need to do now are make those darkest triangles on the bottom. So I'll choose my selection tool and just click on my artboard to reset everything. I will choose my star tool again, and I will grab a really dark gray, so almost black, something like that. Hit OK, click once, 3 points again, and that's perfect. And I am going to, I'll resize this right away. So I'll use my selection tool, grab that, drag it down, maybe grab the side and drag that over, resize it. And now I'll do that a few different times. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. So Alt, holding down the Alt key, click and drag over a bunch of times, make a bunch of them, and then I'll resize. And we will reorder everything. As you can see, my green layer is behind these, which is not what I want. So I'll fix that here in just a minute. Okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. You will spend a little bit more time because I don't want you to have to wait for me. All right, now I want to reorder my layers again. So what I can do is I can, using my selection tool, click on my that green object, and I can go to Object, whoops, click on it. There, I clicked on it, Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. So that brings that all the way to the front, and it kind of hides everything else. Okay, so I think we're just about there. The last thing we need to do is add those little birds. So to add the birds, to make the birds, actually, we are going to use our ellipse tool. And we will choose a dark color, probably black or pretty close to it. Hit OK. I'm just going to click and drag out an ellipse. I will do the same thing. I'm going to move off to the side here. I could have done that over here. That might actually be easier to see. So I'll actually click and drag that over, and I'm going to drag over or pan over just a little bit. I am going to make a copy of this below that original. So I'll click and drag down, holding the Alt key. So that's exactly what I want. I'll select both of those using my selection tool, grab my shape builder tool, hold down the Alt key, click and clip right there so that I have that. It's sort of a moon shape, kind of tipped off to the side. I'm going to copy that by holding down the Alt key and clicking and dragging over. And you can kind of see where I'm going here now, right? So there's my bird shape. I want to group those, selection tool, click and drag, select both of those, Object, Group. So there's my bird. I'm going to need to resize that obviously, right? Because it's really big right now. So I want to constrain the proportions for this. So I'll click and drag while holding the shift key, and then I'll move that over into position. And you can change the angle of those. So just rotate that around, make a couple of birds. So I'd say 3 birds, and you can resize them, reorder them. So maybe you want one kind of coming out from around the mountain. So you could change the order of everything in your layers palette over here. And one more time. So I will click and drag while holding the Alt key. And I'll make that one small, rotate that to a different angle. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, Command plus to zoom in. A little bit easier to see. And we'll rotate that maybe just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. All right, that is all you need. Okay, so I have the entire project description, everything you need, all the requirements listed in Classroom. All right, good luck.